let's talk a little bit about the experience of being a youth sports athlete, okay? Because it often goes untalked about, but in youth sports, there aren't many full scholarships.
Not at all, yeah.
You have athletes trying to cover a portion of their tuition. You have athletes trying to cover their own housing, purchase their own food, books, tutors, all that stuff. It's an entire financial experience that doesn't get talked about until you're actually put in that position at the age of 18, 17. So how did you handle all those responsibilities at such a young age?
I just took it a day at a time and a week at a time and a month at a time. And obviously it's not easy being a student athlete in Canada. You know that, you know what I mean? You played football at Waterloo. You know, you have things like OSAP to help you out, but that's also, you're putting yourself into so much like debt that, you know, when you are out of university, you know, you got to pay back a $40,000 loan. And that's not easy, especially, okay, what if football doesn't work out? You're working a 9 to 5, making, I don't know, your salary is maybe 60,000 a year. You got to live, you got to eat. Prices are going up. And on top of that, you got to worry about making those OSAP bills. And on top of that, like what they don't tell you is you need to keep your average in order to keep your scholarship. And it's not even a fully, paid scholarship. You might get, I don't know, a few thousand. You know, obviously everything helps. But at the same time, I don't know how, most people get through being an athlete in Canada, because being a student itself is hard, but now being a student athlete, it's just that much harder.
I'm huge on scholarships. I always think that every single student athlete in Canada should be in contention for getting a full scholarship, okay? When did you first find out that in the OUA you can't get a full scholarship, and what was your reaction to that?
I think grade 11, grade 12, when I was actually, trying to play football at the next level. We're talking, obviously we hear about, full scholarships in the States and all that. And then I'm like, okay, so do we get that in Canada? And then, I just, ask around, ask your questions, whatever. And you find out, like, wow, like, you really don't. And it's crazy because in order to get a scholarship over here, you need like a 80 average coming out of high school. And like, at that time, I was trying to get like a 65, 70 average to get accepted into university. I'm like, okay, how is that possible for me now? And I never ended up actually getting a scholarship, to be honest with you. So I went 4 years without getting a scholarship.
What?
Yeah.
You went 4 years at Laurier without getting a scholarship. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So one of the greatest players in Laurier football history, in OUA football history, youth sports football history, didn't even get their scholarship when they were in school.
Nope.
And I think that goes to show how much that academic aspect really affects student athletes, because the reality is, you and I both know this, it's a full-time job to be a student athlete,
100%.
right? You're putting in 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week, watching film, working out, the lifestyle. Yep. It's hard to maintain your grades.
It's like Monday to Friday, or even Monday to Saturday. Like, you're waking up at 6 a.m., you got practice at 4 p.m. And then in between that time, like, you got your lifts, and then you got to go to your classes, and then you got practice from 4 to 8, and then, you got to do your, schoolwork and whatever. That's a full days of work, you know what I mean? And it's hard, at the end of the day, like, student athletes, were human, you know what I mean? And the fact that you're asking, these athletes who are, doing so much work within that week to, get a certain grade average just to receive a little bit of money, yeah. You know what I mean? In order to, exactly, yeah. That's the word, just a little bit, you know what I mean? It's different if you're, okay, you do that much work and your whole tuition's paid for. That's a whole different story, but you're doing that much just, for a little bit of money to help you out, because you're still gonna be in debt at the end of the day.